Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật.
Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật.
Yeah. I have two questions for you. The first, I have my adult children. They grow up here and they study and working here, and they lose the traditional way, including the culture and the religion. How we can approach them and put them back to our traditional and religion. My second question is, I appreciate your lecture, but in the Buddhist Sativa chapter, I like to add two more virtues. The first, the Buddhist Sativa person should have the no individualism. No individual, it means the goal. And the second virtue is the fearless virtue. Recall the Vietnamese United Buddhist Association President Thích Quảng Độ. We learned that he have two virtues. He never feared the government, and he have lose it name his position. He stand up to against the Vietnamese Communist government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, in relation to the second point, yes, there is so much more to talk about in relation to what it means to be a bodhisattva. And, you know, one of those 2 points you mentioned was fearlessness. Yes, bodhisattvas, having great wisdom, understand that their true nature is not attached to this body. So why should they care what happens to their bodies? That's why they can give up their lives. Because they have no need, they have nothing to fear. If someone kills them, they know that their mind will continue. They'll just be reborn again. And, or choose a form and continue to practice and to teach the Dharma. So you're right, yes, fearlessness. There's so much more, but we're constrained by time. And of course, there's also my limited knowledge. I am not a great Dharma master. I'm still very much a beginner. In terms of the younger generation, who either came here from Vietnam when they're very young or who were born here, this is always an issue. In fact, in some of my psychology classes, we've talked about immigrant communities and how there's sometimes, maybe conflict isn't the right word, but there's a disconnect between people who came here when they were older and are still culturally and mostly linguistically Vietnamese, in this case, for example, and then their children, whose first language is really English, and who like listening to hip-hop, and they think Buddhism is just this kind of old dusty thing, you know? Well, I'm a white guy, so maybe it's, I know you're surprised, right? No, I'm a white guy, so maybe it's not right for me to say this. Maybe it's a little arrogant for me to say this, but it seems to me, if you want the younger generation to come back to the Dharma, let them come to the Dharma and don't worry so much about traditional Vietnamese culture. Because they're American like me. So let them be American Buddhists, whatever that means. Because even the convert community Buddhists, converts like me, we're still figuring that out. What does it mean to be Buddhist and American? So let them be Buddhist, encourage them in the Dharma, but without expecting that they be Vietnamese, culturally Vietnamese Buddhists. That's the best advice that I can give. But again, I recognize I'm saying that looking at this from the outside. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Question right here? Yes.
Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật.
Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật.
First of all, I'm very thankful for your preaching. Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật.
Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật.
I have a question for you. That earlier you said that there's a psychologist find a way to meditation on compassion to help people have sleeping problems. So would you show us how to practice that? Because I know a lot of people have sleeping problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is an excellent question. I thought of that actually during my talk, but I decided I would wait and see if someone asked because of time. So, well, let's put it this way. We can always turn on the news, no matter how much we ourselves are suffering. We can always turn on the news and find someone who's suffering worse than us, right? You go for a walk in some parts of the Los Angeles area, you see on the street people who are clearly suffering more, than you are yourselves, right? The thing to do is you can sit in meditation or just sit in a chair when you're lying in bed at night before you go to sleep. Think of those who are suffering more than you and wish that they will find happiness. This is one way you can meditate on compassion. There's a meditation, I mentioned I do this meditation program at UPA. In the spring semester, in the spring term, we were doing a meditation called Homeland. It comes from the Tibetan tradition. It means sending and taking. And what you do in this meditation is you breathe out light, happiness, health, and well-being to others. And you can picture a specific person, or you can picture beings, throughout all space and time. So you breathe out light, and then when you breathe in, you are inhaling as like a dark smoke. You're inhaling the suffering of others. Now, of course, you don't have to worry about actually receiving their suffering. This is just a mental exercise. But you're taking in the suffering of others and you're breathing out light and happiness and health and well-being to others. That's another way to meditate. But the easiest way is just to think of someone who's suffering worse than you and pray for them. So turn your attention. We suffer because we're always focused on ourselves, our own needs. Me. So turn your attention away from yourself. Turn your attention away from your own suffering and pray for others.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
I know that your time is up.
Oh, time is up now.
Yeah, but they still have a lot of questions from the audience.
Yes.
We still have another session after 7 p.m., after the dinner, and the daily briefing, and then could you please stay until that so people can have questions?
I would like to. Let me check with Most Venerable Vinli and see if he needs me back at Yupap for the evening services. We have Friday night services. Let me check with Most Venerable Vinli, and if he says it's fine, I'm happy to stay and answer some more questions.
Okay, thank you.
So, let's stand for the closing prayer. When Thank you very much. I appreciate your